All right, future engineers, typically there's not a video for our part 3, but this one is an exceptionally hard one, so I want to make sure that you have all the resources to feel comfortable and confident completing this part on your own. So this part 3, Mordor, is pretty much Mordor. It is a hellish landscape full of Uruk-hai and orcs, and by that I mean we're going to be using points, midpoint planes, and fillets, not fillets. Fillets are fishes, but fillets to make a rounded and really unique looking shape. So let's get started. We are going to draw the bottom box of this, which is a 3x3 square, and we're going to extrude that up a distance of 0.75. So let's just go into our OnShape, and over here, we'll take a look. I am going to name this Mordor. And then we are going to start on the top plane, and we'll start sketching over there. View normal to plane, draw a rectangle, and then dimension one side of it. Dimension one side of it to be a dimension 3. Then I can select all of my edges and set them to be equal. Cool. So now when I finish that, I'll view isometric. I'm going to turn off all the points except for the origin. I'll leave that there just in case I want it. And then I can extrude that a distance of 0.75. All right, so you may be wondering, but that box has rounded corners. Well, I am going to use another command called fillet to round those edges. They are rounded at a radius of 0.25. So let's go back into OnShape and let's learn how to use fillet. So we'll go over to our commands on the side over here, and we are going to find fillet. Fillet is one of the finishings that we can do. So fillet and chamfer, one is a rounded edge and one is just a angled little chamfer on the edge. So we're going to select all of our corners that we want to fillet. And I'll rotate this around. I'll go back to my isometric. Cool. And you can see they already are almost where we need to be. We can hit our check mark when we're done. That's perfect. Nice and simple. But now we have those beautiful rounded edges. Cool. All right, so now the next thing that I want to do is actually throw in all of these holes, but I'm going to do it in a different way that's a little bit faster than what we have been doing. It's not necessarily totally faster, but it's another way of doing this that I find to be incredibly useful. So what we have 4 holes that are placed 0.5 away from each edge, and they have a diameter of 0.38. I know that's a little hard to see, but it's 0.38. So let's go over to our drawing, and we are going to start a sketch on this face, and I'm going to view normal to plane. Now what I am going to do is I am going to, this is really, really important. It's going to make you snap to the center points of those rounded edges. You don't want that. You don't want that. And in reality, I probably should have done these points first before I had rounded the edges, but I got excited because I really love to use the fillet tool. So I just placed 4 points. Notice they're blue, so they aren't constrained to a center point yet. And now I'm going to throw in some dimensions. So all of these dimensions that we have are 0.5. They're 0.5 from each of the edges. Now, yes, you can be doing this with just standard circles and then extruding the circles out, but I am going to show you the hole command too, because it's a nice little introduction before we do any complicated holes, because you're going to see that we're going to start with the simple hole command. So I am placing all of these at a distance of 0.5. I'm trying to drag my dimensions outside of it. I should have my dimensions outside of the shape. just so it's a little bit easier for you to read, as well as that's what the standard is. All right, now that I have all those points placed, I'm just going to finish my sketch. And then I'm going to view isometric. So now that I have all those points placed, I can go to my 3D modeling tools, and I am going to choose a command, hole. The hole command, when you pop this up, you can see there are so many different options to this. We've got different types of counterbore, countersink, simple. This one's just going to be a simple through hole. And our dimension is 0.38 for our diameter. And we can hit our check mark. And now when we hit each of those dots, it will add a hole right where we need it to go. And then I can hit my check mark, and now I've got all 4 holes placed where I need them to go. All right, so now the next feature is going to be a little bit harder. We have a box that then connects this circle over here. So for this box, what it actually is, it has a height of 1.25. It has a width that is going to be the diameter of this, which is 1.875. And then our box thickness is just 0.625. So I want to draw a box that is 0.625 and 1.875 long right on the center and extrude that up a distance of 1.25. So how do we do that? Let's go back into our OnShape. We're going to start a sketch right here, and I'm going to view normal too and start my sketch. I'm also going to rotate it around because I want to draw it exactly how it looks right there. So we have a center point rectangle command. I really enjoy that. So I'm going to take the center point, and then I'm going to reference this midpoint over here and this midpoint over here. And when I bring those back together, I will get the center of my shape. And I can place one right there and then draw it out like that. So now this is placed perfectly in the center. I can dimension it. It has a total width of 1.875 and then a thickness or depth of 0.62. And there we go. We can now extrude that up. So I'll view isometric, and I am going to hit my extrude command and choose that right there. If you remember, our dimension that we were doing is 1.25. Cool. So we are getting close to what we want to do, and let's look back over here. So we have this now rectangle here, but we want to draw this circle over here. We want to draw the bigger circle and then subtract out this circle. So we're going to draw the big circle first and then subtract in another sketch. So the big circle is 0.88 from both of the centers. So we could draw one, extrude it one way, and draw the other, extrude it the other way. We could find out the little distance that is from this surface to this surface, or we could make a midpoint plane. And that's what I think we're going to do. So let's go back into our OnShape over here, and we are going to make a midpoint plane. So the last time we used a plane, we just used the offset, which is a fine command, and you could totally offset it 0.31 and you're good with that. But I want to show you a midpoint plane. So for this, we are going to choose a mid plane. And this requires 2 points, 2 planes, or an open edge. So I am going to choose this as one of my planes, and then the other side as the other one of my planes. And then when I go back to my isometric view, you can see that there's this preview of the plane that is going right through the middle. And it may not look like it extends through the area where we are drawing, but that plane actually extends infinitely. It is just a little visual representation, because if it did extend infinitely, we wouldn't be able to see it within the bounds of our drawing. So let's just finish that up over here. And then we are going to start a sketch on that plane. So if I can And that's why I don't want to select from the actual face. I'll choose my sketch command, and then I'm going to sketch on plane 1, and I'll view normal to plane. Cool. So now I am going to take a circle with a center point, and you can see I'm not getting a lot of references except over to the origin. I'm just going to place it over here for now. And if you remember that dimension for the diameter, oh, I was so close. Oh, I was so close. It is 1.875. Cool. So now we want to make sure that this is lined up in the center exactly where we want it to be, which is 1.25 from an edge. So what I'm going to do is I will first see if I can use a coincident constraint. Select that, and yes I can. I am going to throw a coincident constraint on those, and we'll snap them into place. Now we do have to dimension this to the origin, which is not hard because it is half of our width, which is just 1.5. And there we go, we've got the circle up top. So I'll finish the sketch over there, I'll view isometric, and you can see that this circle is actually right in the middle. So now that I can view isometric, I am going to extrude that circle, and I want it to add, but our end type, we don't want blind, we want symmetric. It is going to symmetrically extrude a depth of 0.88. We'll finish that right there, and we'll hit done. Cool. So now I already used that midpoint plane. It's a plane right over here. I don't need it anymore, so I'm going to turn off the visibility. And now I just need to add 2 more features. One, we're going to add the hole in the middle, and then we're going to add those fillets along the base that occur on these edges over here. So let's add that hole first. It'll be nice and simple. We're going to go back over here. It is a diameter of 0.75, and then we have a radius of 1.25 for those fillets. So let's go back into OnShape, and I'm going to sketch on this face, view normal to plane. I will take my circle with the center point. I'm going to line it up to the center point over here, and then throw in a diameter of 0.75. Cool. We can finish that sketch, view isometric. I'm going to extrude, removing, sketch 5, and I'm going to say through all, and there we go. Now the last thing is just adding those fillets. So I will go into my 3D modeling tools, select fillet, and then I need to move this around to get all the edges. Cool. Let's go back to our isometric view. And now that's a little too harsh of a fillet. We want to change it to 0.125 and finish our sketch. All right, I know that one is a little bit harder of a OnShape problem, but I think that y'all can handle it, or I wouldn't have given it to you. So now let's just check out our volume and surface area. Our volume is 9.025 and our surface area is 41.37 inches squared. All right, that's it. If you have any questions, please reach out. I will talk to you later.